This episode is sponsored by Save Your Memories. For over 4 decades, they have been helping people just like you to view, share, and preserve their memories by transferring them to a digital format. Now you can transfer your photos, videotapes, DVDs, and old movie films to relive again. Visit us at www.saveyourmemories.online today.
Hello and welcome to Newsmakers, where we feature the best in business. My name is Rory Graham and I'm your host, and today we have the pleasure of speaking to someone that I'm pretty fond of. Not only is he my brother, but he has also written a book, and it's a really good book. It's a fiction story, and it's kind of, I like to describe it as Indiana Jones meets Mission Impossible kind of a thing. And so I'm pleased to introduce William Lynn Graham. How you doing, Lynn?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me.
Okay. So you are a writer, a published author, and it's on Amazon and a bunch of other places, I'm assuming. So I'm just going to let you tell. I'd like to start off with, can you give me a little history of how the story came about? Because I know you had this idea for a long time. And so if you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about that, that would be great.
I've thought about this story for well over 10 years. Like a lot of people, I suppose, I've always wanted to write a book. But the problem in my particular case was, I couldn't type. I hunt and peck. I don't know how to type. So writing a novel, a manuscript, with a hunt and peck is not going to work. So that was a problem. But the story has been running around in my head for a long time. Finally, I started writing it down after I retired. I wrote it down by hand. And I must have written 50, 60 pages, the regular 8.5 by 11 pages. And my wife and her friend typed them for me. And then I realized that they made computers that you could speak to, and they would type the words for you. Now, they didn't put all the grammar in, but they did type all the words, which was a lifesaver for me. And that really got me jump-started. So I talked my way through the manuscript. My wife probably typed about 80% of it before we got a computer that I could use, and I finished it with that, and then went back through and added all the commas and apostrophes and periods and stuff that were left out. Once I did that, then I was set. Then I was really excited about it. To me, the best part of writing the book was the process. And the process was not just me figuring out the concept, the storyline, the plot, the twists, the surprises. All of that is great and fun, getting into situations and then trying to get them out. But the process also included, after the manuscript was written, the people involved. For instance, I wrote all this out, and of course my wife and her friend typed it, which was a big help. And then once I got it even partially written, I sent half of it to my daughter to get a 20-something's view of the book, to see if I was, if it was any good or if I was wasting my time, because I'd never written anything, and I just wanted to know, whether anybody else liked it as much as I did. And so I only had half of it written, and I sent it to her because she was bugging me about it. And I didn't hear anything for like 4 days. And I thought, she doesn't like it. She doesn't want to hurt my feelings, that kind of thing. And then 4 days later, she calls me up at like 9 o'clock at night, and she's screaming into the phone, "Dad, how can you leave me like this? I am hanging by a thread here. It's like a series on TV that left you with a cliffhanger, and I don't know what's happening. Where's the rest of the book?" So then I felt like that I had a pretty good, concept on my hands. So I go through her and finish the book, and then my older brother, Rory, who had been hounding me forever to finish it, I touched base with him before I ever got started, and he really encouraged me to do it. He liked the idea. And so I sent it to him, and he went through and ran it through a couple of computer programs, one where it edited it to some degree, adding all kinds of grammar problems, which I'm not particularly good at, and then another computer program that broke it into chapters and whatnot, and got it squared away. Once that happened, I could send it in to my publisher, to get it edited. But it's all those people that are involved helping me. It's kind of a group thing. I mean, the story is mine, the characters are mine, the plots are mine, the twists are mine, all of that. But without the other people helping me and working on it as well, it wouldn't be near as good as it is. And so I appreciate all of that. But it's that process where everybody works together, helping me out to bring this. That's the part I like the most, to bring this to fruition. That people ask me all the time, do you like the writing? Yeah, I love the writing. I love making up the stories and figuring things out. But it's the process of everybody down the line getting involved that helps me with it, and that's what I like the most.
Okay, well, that's interesting. It's funny how things sit in your head for a long time and then finally they come out. And can you give the viewers here a little sense of what is the book about?
Yeah, honestly, my writing process is probably a little haphazard. I can't speak for any other authors, but I generally have the end of the book completely figured out. I know exactly how the book's going to end before I write it. I don't know how common that is, but then I go back to the beginning and I work through all the action and whatever. This book is about a regular guy that it could be anybody, which I think is one of the allures of the book. It could be any person out there. He doesn't have superpowers or anything like that. He basically suffers a traumatic brain injury and on a work site, job site. And after he recovers pretty much completely, but he realizes that he has this ability. Over time, he realizes that he has the ability to project his astral self or his consciousness back in time, anywhere, any place that he wants. Now, he can't go into the future, but he can go back. And he uses this ability eventually to help the police, and then eventually he gets tangled up with the FBI as well as the CIA. And he doesn't want anyone to know what his name is or who he is. He's completely anonymous. So he uses burner phones and never shows up. Nobody knows what he looks like. Nobody knows what his name is. Nobody knows where he lives. And he is constantly in and out, dodging the CIA. And it's just a fast-paced book. When I wrote it, it's not very long. It's only about 225 pages. But when I wrote it, I was shooting for something that would hold your interest, something that kept moving. You didn't get lulled to sleep at any part of it. And it's basically, I like to think of it as a good book to where if you're sitting on the beach catching some rays or under an umbrella, or you're sitting by the pool and watching the kids play, or you're cuddled up in front of a fireplace on a sofa and you want a good read, this is the book for you. And I think it spans all ages. The genre may not be particularly what an individual likes, but there's something in it for everybody. And I think that it's a great book for any and everybody to read. I think they'd all get something out of it.
Well, I think it would be a really good idea to tell people what the title of the book is.
The title of the book is Hindsight 2020. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, bookshop.org, as well as some other places, walmart.com, target.com. And it's available in the United States, in Europe, Australia, and the UK. So it's really a heartfelt book. I really enjoy it, and I think the biggest problem people will have will be finding a place to stop and put it down, because once it gets going, it keeps moving. You're constantly wondering what's going to happen next.
Well, I agree with that. That's what I was saying. It's kind of like Mission Impossible. You think you know what's happening, and you don't know what's happening. So, yeah,
turns, twists, and surprises.
Yeah. And I would like to also say that yes, it's called Hindsight 2020, but it's important to say the subtitle is Voodoo Rising, because there's a lot of Hindsight 2020s out there. So the one you want to look for is that one, Voodoo Rising, and it doesn't have anything to do with voodoo. So,
right, and that's one of the things I try to tell people right away. It has nothing to do with voodoo. Voodoo is the nickname that the FBI agent gives the main character because nobody knows who he is. Okay. So he calls him Voodoo, and that's what it's about. And the second book in the series should be out in late fall, and that will be Hindsight 2020: The Human Element. But it's at the publishers now, getting edited. Mm-hmm. But the first one is Voodoo Rising, and it's the first of 3 that are coming out.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I have already read the second one. It's very, very good, and keeps you guessing as well. And I also like to say there's a lot of humor in them too. So it's a fun read. It really is.
It's something for everybody. I think everybody will enjoy it.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else that we need to let the people know about this book? There is a trilogy of them. Will be a trilogy, and you've got a website.
The plan is for 3 books. Yeah. And the website is hindsight2020trilogy.com. And basically it tells you a little bit about me, the book, and a little sneak peek at what the second one is about. The third one I've also written. The rough manuscript is written, but I'll be going over that. But first I have to get the second one through editing. And I imagine that one would be out sometime in the spring, late spring, early summer of next year.
Okay, well, it was good to see you, and I wish you a great deal of success, obviously, and I thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. This is something new. This is the marketing end of it that I am not very good at, and I need to work on that because the people. It's more important to me that people enjoy the book. The people really enjoy the book, no matter your age, and that's why I've had people of all ages read it, from teenagers to people in their 60s, and everybody finds something that they like. So I think it's a good read.
I do too. All right, I will be talking with you again soon, so let me wrap this up. All right, so thank you for joining us today on Newsmakers. If you have a business and you would like to be featured on Newsmakers as our guest, you can go to newsmakersnow.com and register there. You can email us or call us. We'd be glad to talk to you about featuring your business. And and give this Hindsight 2020 Voodoo Rising a read. It's really, I mean, I know he's my brother, but it really is a is a good book. So with that, I guess we're out.